Hello, my friends. Welcome back to English Unlocked. I'm Peter, and today we're unlocking one of the most powerful secrets to speaking English fluently: how to connect your passions to your language learning. Have you ever felt bored or unmotivated when studying English? Maybe you memorize grammar and vocabulary, but when it's time to speak, your mind goes blank. In this video, I'll show you how to change that completely. You'll learn why studying through your passions makes you fluent faster, how to turn hobbies into daily English practice, and real stories from learners who improved without traditional study. By the end, you'll see that English isn't just a subject, it's a part of your life. So, if you want more lessons and inspiring tips like this, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. It helps you and others unlock English with joy. Are you ready to discover your passion-powered English journey? Let's begin. I'm Peter, and today I want to share something from my 10 years of learning English. This is not a grammar class. This is a story about learning English in a simple and happy way. When I first started, I studied very hard. I read many books, I wrote many notes. But I felt tired and bored. I wanted to speak English, but I only studied words. There was no feeling, no real life in my English. Maybe you feel the same sometimes, right? One day, I realized something important. English is not just words or rules. English is alive. It is about people, about emotions, about connection. When I spoke English only for tests, I forgot quickly. But when I spoke about things I loved, like music or travel, I remembered everything. I started to enjoy learning again. So now I always tell my students, don't learn English like a robot. Learn it with your heart. Talk about your hobbies, your dreams, your small happy things. When you do that, English becomes part of your life. And that is what we will talk about today: how to learn English through your passions. Trust me, when you connect your heart with English, you will never feel bored again. Let's start this journey together, step by step. Many years ago, when I was still learning English, I often felt tired. I studied grammar rules again and again. I memorized long word lists. But when I tried to speak, my mind went blank. I could not find the right words. It felt so slow and hard. Sometimes I even thought, maybe English is not for me. But later, I understood something important. The problem was not me. The problem was how I learned. I only used books and tests. I never used English for real life. It was like learning to swim by reading a book, but never touching the water. Of course, it felt boring. Many learners feel the same way. They study for many years, but they still cannot speak. Because their English has no feeling, no story, no connection. They only study with the head, not with the heart. When I realized this, I decided to change. I stopped studying like a machine. I started to learn English in a real way, by listening, by watching, by speaking, by living. And slowly, everything became easier. English started to feel natural. I felt happy again. So, if you feel bored or stuck, don't worry. You are not bad at English. You just need a new way to learn, one that makes you feel alive inside. And that's what we will talk about next. After I changed the way I learned, I started to ask myself a simple question: what do I really love? What makes me happy? Because I found that when I talk about things I love, English feels easy. I don't think too much. The words come out by themselves. Everyone has something they love. It can be cooking, music, football, travel, or even taking care of plants. For me, it was music. When I listened to songs in English, I felt alive. I wanted to understand the lyrics. So I looked up the words, sang along, and slowly my English improved without stress. It didn't feel like study, it felt like fun. Maybe you love painting or watching movies. Then learn English through that. Watch videos, read small articles, or talk about it with friends. When you connect English with your passion, your heart opens. And when your heart opens, your words come easily. I still remember the first time I talked about music in English with someone online. I was nervous, but also excited. We talked for 1 hour, and I didn't even notice the time. That was the first moment I felt real fluency. So, my friend, find what you love. Use it as your bridge to English. When you learn through passion, English becomes not a lesson, but a part of your life. And that's where real progress begins. When I started learning English, I only focused on reading and grammar. I thought listening was too hard for me. Every time I listened to English, my mind said, I don't understand anything. It made me feel small and sad. But one day, I found a simple English podcast. The speaker talked slowly, clearly, and with a warm voice. I didn't understand every word, but I understood the feeling. So, I started to listen every day, 10 minutes, then 20, then 30. At first, my brain was confused. But after 1 month, something changed. I started to catch small words, hello, today, because. Then I could understand short sentences. It was like magic. Listening became my best teacher. I learned new words, new sounds, and real English from real people. Sometimes I laughed, sometimes I repeated the words aloud. It felt like I was talking with a friend. If you are learning English now, please listen every day. You don't need to understand everything. Just listen and let English live in your ears and heart. Step by step, you will feel it grow inside you. After I listened every day, I wanted to speak. But I was so scared. My mouth felt frozen. I knew the words in my head, but they didn't come out. One day, I looked in the mirror and said, "Hi, how are you?" It sounded strange, and I laughed at myself. But I didn't stop. Every morning, I talked to myself in English, about my plans, my dreams, even my breakfast. At first, my sentences were short and broken. Sometimes I said the wrong word and I felt shy. But slowly I started to feel free. I learned that speaking is not about being perfect. It's about being brave. Then I found online friends who were also learning English. We talked a little each day and we laughed at our mistakes. It was fun and real. That's when I felt my English coming alive. So, if you are afraid to speak, don't wait for the right time. The right time is now. Speak to yourself, to your phone, to your cat. It doesn't matter. Every word you say makes you stronger. After I started speaking more, I found one big problem. I didn't know many words. Sometimes I wanted to say something, but the word just disappeared from my mind. It was so funny and a little sad. At first, I tried to remember long word lists. But after one day, I forgot everything. It didn't work. Then I changed my way. I began to learn words from real life. When I watched a movie and heard a new word, I wrote it down. When I read a short story and saw a nice word, I said it out loud. I didn't learn 20 words in one day. I learned 2 or 3, but I used them many times. I made small sentences like, I'm excited, or it's delicious. Simple words, but very useful. And when I used them again and again, they became my friends. So, don't try to remember every word in the dictionary. Learn from your life, from songs, movies, people, and moments. Every new word is like a little key. And one day, all these keys will open big doors in your English world. After I learned to build words from real life, I found another secret: reading. Reading helped me grow faster than I ever thought. At first, I was scared. English books looked so big, so hard. I thought, no way I can read this. But then I started small. Very small. I read short stories for kids. Just 5 or 6 lines. Simple, clear, and fun. And you know what? I understood some words. That made me smile. Every day I read a little. Sometimes 1 paragraph, sometimes only 2 sentences. I didn't translate everything. I just tried to guess the meaning from the story. And slowly, my brain started to remember words without effort. It felt like magic. One day, I realized I could read a full page without stopping. That moment was special. I felt proud, like I climbed a small mountain. Reading became my quiet teacher. So, if you want to grow your English, read, even a little. It can be a short story, a comic, a blog, or a message from a friend. Reading every day feeds your English like food for your brain. And one day, you'll see, your words will flow like water. After I started reading, I wanted to hear real English. I wanted to know how it sounds in real life. So I began to listen every day. At first, I didn't understand anything. The people spoke too fast. All I heard was blah blah blah. It felt crazy, but I didn't give up. I listened again and again. Short videos, songs, and podcasts, just like this one. Even if I only understood 1 word, I smiled. Because that 1 word meant I was learning. I remember listening to 1 English song every morning. I didn't know the meaning, but I liked the rhythm. After 1 week, I could sing a few lines. After 1 month, I understood some of the lyrics. It made me so happy. Slowly, my ears became stronger. I started to catch more words, then full sentences. English began to sound familiar, friendly, not scary anymore. So my advice is simple: listen a little every day. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Your brain is learning in silence. And one day, you'll realize you can understand without thinking. That moment feels amazing. Trust me. After I listened every day, I knew it was time to use English in real life. At first, I was nervous. I thought, what if I say something wrong? What if people laugh at me? But then I told myself, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. So I started small. When I went to a coffee shop, I ordered in English. Just 1 sentence, 1 coffee please. My heart was beating so fast. But the person smiled and gave me the coffee. That moment gave me so much confidence. Later, I joined a small English group online. We talked about daily life, food, hobbies, weekend plans. Sometimes I didn't know how to say something, so I used simple words. And guess what? People still understood me. That made me so happy. Using English in real life showed me that English is not just grammar or tests. It's a bridge, a way to connect with real people. It makes the language alive. So don't wait for perfect English. Start now. Speak, write, chat, ask questions. Every small action is real practice. And the more you use English, the more natural it becomes. After many years of learning, I finally understood something important. Learning English is not a goal. It's a journey. And this journey never really ends. When I look back, I smile. I remember the days when I couldn't say a full sentence. Now I can talk, read, listen, and think in English with joy. But I still learn something new every day. A new word, a new sound, a new idea. Sometimes I still make mistakes, and that's okay. Because learning never stops. Even native speakers keep learning. The secret is to enjoy the process. Now I use English to connect with people from around the world. I share stories, I listen to others, I learn about new cultures. That's when I realized English is not just a language. It's a door to the world. So my friend, don't worry about being perfect. Don't compare yourself to others. Just keep going step by step. Speak, listen, read, and enjoy the small wins. Because every step you take brings you closer to fluency. And remember, your English story has only just begun.